Hey, this is Alan Curtis Meisner, otherwise known as the Dragonmancer. And of course, this is the lair of the Dragonmancer. Yeah, I'm happy that at least one of the latest counts that I had, it said something about that just my channel alone has received, ready for this, 11,691 views, as I recall. Of course, my guess is that by the time I check it again, I will probably find that it is increased dramatically since then. So, I'd have to say that it sounds to me as though, perhaps my words might be to some extent prophetic, that what happens is that, yeah, maybe there will be somewhat of a cult iconography or cult following in the lair of the Dragonmancer. Now, you might be wondering what I'm doing at this moment, so I'll go ahead and explain. I hold in my hand two different species of penguins, one called a chinstrap penguin, and this one is called the Gentoo penguin. Now, if you look very closely, you will notice that they are facing opposite of one another. It's kind of an interesting thing. I decided I would place these two directly in front of each other in their place on the desk. It almost reminds me of that there are two opposite circumstances, male and female, light and dark, summer and winter, day and night, and of course those who believe that God exists and those who believe that God does not exist. That when you really think about it, in the same way that they can circle about each other like this, they can, to some extent, balance each other out. That's kind of the interesting thing about opposites. They say that opposites attract, but oftentimes opposites balance each other out. Very much like the symbolism that is shown in the Taoist religion. You remember the symbol, of course, that it is what is known as the yin and the yang. That basically the yang is the white, I guess you could say a teardrop, or, for lack of a better description, with a black eye, while the yin is the black teardrop with a white eye. Or maybe it's the other way around. I'll have to look it up, of course. Otherwise, by all means, comment, make sure that I get it right. Now, it is written that it must needs be that there is an opposite in all things. It's like I explained before. When it comes to the opposites, yeah, there has to be opposites. We cannot have everything the same, we cannot have everything, and we cannot have a sense of everyone thinking exactly alike. There has to be that opposite of each other. Because when you really think about it, that opposite balances, and the most important balance that you have when it comes to the opposites is the fact that without these opposites, you would not be able to identify a difference between the two. You just wouldn't. It's just not possible to have that knowledge of differences. Some, like for instance, there's the tree that Adam and Eve partook of, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Think about this for a moment. Even if you don't believe it to be true, that's your opinion. But the reality is, there's a lot of individuals that try to say that if Adam and Eve had not partaken of the fruit, there would not be any misery, but there would also not be any joy either. We wouldn't even have a knowledge of the difference between the two. That's the most important thing. Knowledge of good and evil. You cannot distinguish good and evil if you do not have the distinguishing to make. And thus, the balance. As ever, thank you for watching, and have a nice night.